Hey guys, Infidel 1258 here. Today we have a new DAO proposal to look at. We're talking about burning Riftwatcher. I want to talk about the proposal. I want to read the details. This one's coming from Matt, Matt. And so I think there's some great insight here, but it's currently failing. Let's talk about the pros, the cons, and everything in between. Should we vote for this thing? Yes or no? What am I doing? Let's get into it. Before we do though, thank you SPLINTERCOACH.com for supporting the channel. SPLINTERCOACH.com is a website that will track your personalized battle history for $5 a month. And it's entertaining to look at the data, but it's also a tool that will help you get better and therefore win more rewards for your time and attention. It's entertaining because you can see cool things like how do you win with your summoners? Which monsters are you playing with? Which ones are you losing with and under which rule sets or mana caps? That's really cool to look at. I'm enjoying that part. But it's actually helping me become more proficient as I look into deep diving on data. Lily Shieldpaw is a successful summoner. It's one of the better ones that I have. But you can actually look through mana cap and you can find that it is very functional and a high winner at every other mana cap, with the exception of, perhaps surprisingly, the 99 mana cap. So at the highest levels, this 6 mana summoner just isn't winning for me. And you might not know that intuitively, but the data shows you it. And then how can that make me better? Well, recognizing this limitation or this Achilles heel for this one summoner might mean that I could try something else. In that 99 mana app, I try some other summoner. Maybe I win 1 or 2 more matches. Does that mean 1 more daily chest or 1 more season chest? Maybe it does. And in that way, I get more reward for my time and attention. Plus, I have some fun while doing it. Check out SPLINTERCOACH.com. Thanks, guys. So the new proposal that's out, which was supported by Yabamet, as a recommendation to begin a daily burn process for the Riftwatcher packs. It's only just launched. 40 million people, 40 million SPS saying yes, 22 saying no, currently failing. I'm interested by this one. Let's read what it has to say and let's unpack it a bit closely. So this proposal is to have the DAO begin taking 15,000 Riftwatcher packs out of the available sale pool every day until the set is sold out. Of the 15,000 packs, 90% of them would be burned, and 1,500 of them would go to the SPS DAO. I like this. Let's go further. The DAO would retain the packs and be able to sell them or use them for promotions in the future. This is great. Like, for one, it's great because I want to put value into the DAO. For two, in my mind, it's great because we're actually going to start seeing a removal of these products that no one seems to want to buy. And for three, it opens a door for Rebellion or another mini set, which are already ready to rock. It sounds like, yeah, I know there's maybe some questions around the mini set because the IP that we're trying to partner with, I don't know if that contract's fully worked out. But my point is that I think that between Rebellion or a mini set, we could be ready to launch another pack as soon as we want, really. And Riftwatchers is definitely standing in the way of that. Not to say we need to rush on to the next thing, but this isn't just about rushing on to the next thing. It's about putting value into the DAO. It's about removing things that we don't seem interested in buying. It's about seeing new airdrops coming to those who bought Riftwatcher packs. And it's actually, interestingly, a way to add value to the existing Riftwatcher packs. What do I mean? Imagine 2 million Riftwatcher packs get removed from circulation. 3 million were initially planned. 1 million have been sold. 2 million get deleted or removed or put into the DAO through this process. What does that mean? It means that the 1 million packs that were sold should long-term be more and more valuable. Long-term. Because there's less supply. There should be, at some point, as this game grows and grows, because currently our appetite for Riftwatchers has been satiated. At some point, in my mind, this game will grow both in player base and reach, as well as new money coming in. And I think the assets that are rare, that are scarce, and that are excellent should grow in value. And in my mind, and I've said it before, Riftwatcher assets are actually really exceptional. I think they're really exceptional. I think the rares are very impressive. I mean, Swede Shaman is like one that I really like, but it falls under the questionable category. But these other ones on the rare side are not just good. They're really, really different, like really unique in sort of the power. Queen of Crows, Corsair Boson. Cinderlog I actually don't love, but if you have Yasik or if you have Yodin, then of course you're going to really enjoy that monster. But yeah, their rares are really, really powerful. And Boson, Queen of Crows, Runic Skyclaw, Ula, Stampede, Cabalist, Technomancer, Sea Stalker, they're all very Watercaller, Runeslinger, they're all really, really good. And then you got the summoners, which maybe they're just okay, but as we move away from Untamed being part of the modern, I think you start to see even more value in these. And I think epics have a unique place. So I, for one, value these a lot. And again, if these cards, which are already good, have a reduction in their maximum supply from 1 million to, let's say, 1.5 million, because right now, sorry, from 3 million, which is currently the maximum supply, to 1.5 million, meaning 1.5 million packs just get removed. I think it actually probably might be, let's say, a little bit higher than that. But man, that should translate in the distant future as these cards appreciate, because they become scarce enough yet desirable enough through a moment when player base grows. That's a path to greater value, not less value, for the card holders that already own these cards, that already enjoyed, that already invested. So I see a lot of interesting benefits from this proposal. Let's carry on. There are currently just under 2 million Riftwatcher packs still available for sale. If this proposal is approved, no more packs will be sold, and the set will be if this proposal is approved and no more packs are sold, then the set would be sold out within 130 days. So just over 4 months, right? Yeah. In reality, taking into account packs purchased by players, it should sell out sooner than that. And I would think that this proposal would prompt, and they say that later here, that would prompt, it will trigger, it will force the set to sell out, and the remaining, I would think that this will trigger more purchases, and therefore a more rapid sellout than 130 days, because people do like Riftwatcher. But I think right now we are hesitant to put more money into this thing, because frankly, it's a bear market still. Some of our other bags are suffering. We're reluctant. But I get the desire. I see the interest. I see the benefits that I already listed. Putting some value into the DAO, reducing a supply for a thing that's not selling, finding ways to actually long-term benefit those who invested in something like this, because there will be less supply, and therefore you should see a greater appreciation when there's appreciation in the future. And yeah, I think there's a lot going on here. While some people might worry that the DAO is giving up long-term revenue by burning the inventory in exchange for more short-term revenue, I believe that the potential downside will have minimal impact, and that the potential upsides have far outweigh it. I believe the downside is minimal because the DAO will sell new mini sets at some point next year. Rebellion is released and will continue to sell mini sets in the future. So that's great. That's an important point. People are going to be critical of this because theoretically it's taking value or profitability out of the hands of the DAO, because Riftwatcher packs are profiting the DAO. True. But as they point out here, new packs will come at some point in the future. There's a certain proportion of the audience within Splinterlands that will buy new packs. And it's really interesting to think about how like 3 or 4 million packs from Chaos Legion sold straight away to the appetite, the eagerness, the excited people who just had to have it. And then similarly, the first million of Riftwatchers kind of flew off the shelves, give or take. You might say the first 500,000, but a good lump gets sold initially because people are eager, and then there's a lot of stagnation because it's I can get it when I want. I'm not gonna in a rush, etc., etc. And so I think it's probably true that there's probably minimal downside because frankly they're not moving in the first place. Second of all, we are going to see new revenues in the future anyways. So frankly, the profitability or the earning potential for the DAO is still coming. It'll just come in a different way through a different pack at a future date. If the proposal is approved, the packs will begin to regularly be taken out of the sale pool, and it will force the set to sell out of the remaining airdrops being triggered within the next few months. That would be exciting too, wouldn't it? It'd be new and cool to see those airdrops come through. So that's another kind of fun element that I would personally be looking forward to. I did buy, I want to say 450 Riftwatcher packs. So I'm eligible for some of those airdrops, not particularly a ton, but you know, of course I'll be excited to see those come through. And this is an interesting point. This should highly incentivize players to begin purchasing packs at a much faster rate. I think this is generally true. I think there's truth in this. This idea that we would be incentivized to purchase packs as they're removed was something that we definitely saw with Chaos Legion packs as they were being burnt. And there was an uptick, a slight uptick. I think we were at like 5,000 packs were being bought daily. Even less when there was no Chaos Legion pack burnings happening. Then the pack burnings started happening, 15,000 a day, if I recall correctly. And it definitely brought us up to 10, 15, 20,000 packs being bought regularly. Not every day, but often. So there was a degree of, okay, they're gonna be gone soon. I got to figure this out. I want more. I'm going to buy them. And so I think he's probably right that it would incentivize players because not only are the packs disappearing, but the airdrops are being triggered. And within 3-4 months, we would start to see those. So it's like, I really got to act now. This will in turn drive more DEC spending, more revenue to the DAO. This part is true, but also with the caveat of, you know, some of the packs are not being sold because they're being deleted and therefore, or given to the DAO. And so in some sense, it is driving some new revenue to the DAO. It's also capping that potential revenue. But again, that point was addressed earlier. We're going to see new packs like Rebellion, which will bring funding into the DAO. And potentially higher secondary market prices for the Riftwatcher cards and packs once they are sold out. This is the point I raised earlier. If there are 3 million packs at the end of this thing, which is the amount that we always imagined there would be, the price of the Riftwatcher pack should be X. If ultimately we delete 1.5 million of those packs, they will never be shared. They will never be opened. The cards within will never reach the marketplace. That's a lower supply, and the existing demand should and future growth of demand should mean that the prices for the Riftwatcher cards grow higher than they would if we leave 3 million packs. That's a matter of simple basic economics. If the supply reduces, you should imagine a greater potential future high for those assets. The increased DEC spending will also help bring us closer to the SPS, to having SPS start being burned. This is true too. The more SPS that is put into the DAO through the purchase of Riftwatcher packs, because that's one of the best ways to buy Riftwatcher packs now due to the peg that they implemented, would mean that DEC, there's about 2 billion DEC that's sort of available for spending. We know land is 1.5 is coming. We know how much that could potentially eat up all DEC that's available, all of it. That's going to depend on how many land plots launch. But if we create more ways, such as this incentivized sort of process, where it's like now or never, guys, get these Riftwatchers if you want, it is going to mean that some extra DEC, maybe 5,000 packs a day, I would suspect, are going to start being bought up. 3,000 to 5,000 packs a day are going to start being bought up, and that DEC is going to start finding its way being locked up in the DAO under our ownership. And of course, that's going to mean there's less still for land, and that's going to mean we get closer to the flywheel. That's what he's saying there. So the mechanism worked very well with the Chaos Legion packs earlier this year, and will likely be built into future pack sales. This is something I called for before, and I think is absolutely the path. You know, if we want to create a scenario where Riftwatcher packs, Rebellion packs, future iterations of any sort of pack sales are being available for 9 months of the year, and then 3 months of the year there's nothing. That was the story, or that was something like the tale being told to us in previous town halls. And the only way to sort of implement that, to actually see that would unfold, would be if we literally built into the I don't want to say white paper, because you don't release a white paper every time you get a pack, or they release a pack. But just imagine they come out and Rebellion is going to be launching in January 2024. And it's going to be available for 9 months, at which time they will all be deleted, or some sort of decreasing plan, just like this is kind of similar to this, where some number of packs are going to be burnt and some number of packs are going to find their way into the DAO. That makes a lot of sense to me. We start adding value, creating resellability, creating promotional opportunities, creating incentive to act on rebellion within the finite window that exists, and then leaving a space where there's silence. One of the exciting things about Splinterlands is that these assets are limited in number, and many critics of my channel or of this game will say things like the cards are inflationary in nature because there's always a new pack. And my pushback is that every pack is different, every card is different, no two cards are the exact same. And so, and some cards are available in modern, others in wild. These distinctions matter because it means that you cannot just call a beta the same as an untamed, and untamed the same as a Rift Watchers, even if there's similarities within the abilities or the stats of those cards. And so as a result, the argument around inflationary, the inflationary nature of these card assets, to me, doesn't hold water. Inflation truly requires that the assets we're talking about are fungible. And if you don't know what fungible means, it essentially boils down to this idea that one is the exact same as another. You look about fungibility, one US dollar is exchangeable for another US dollar, and there's the exact same, they carry the same weight, the same buying pressure, the same utility. But you well know Equatus is not the same as C-Chan, and yet they're both epics. This is a beta card, this is a Rift Watcher card. This card is a 4 mana, this card's a 2 mana. This one has no ability, this one has backfire. These are very different cards, yet in some sense, they're similar. They're both from water, they're both epic. The fact that they're not identical, that they carry different utility, means that they are not fungible, and that is the key factor that we need to remember when we understand whether these cards are truly inflationary or not. And on that basis, as we start to recognize that new cards coming out to the marketplace will always be a certain appetite for purchasing those, it's exciting to imagine that there would be windows of time, 2 or 3, 4 months a year, where there's no cards in the market, because this argument of inflationary or too much supply is being addressed by the deletion. It's being addressed by some of the packs finding their way into the DAO, and it's being addressed by essentially planning a space and a time where there would be no packs at all. And I think you'll see the answer to whether they're truly inflationary when you see that there's a 3-month, consistently every year, there's a 3-month window where there's no packs at all. Because if that moment occurs at a time when there happens to be a bull market energy for Splinterlands, we've seen how that translates. What happens is card prices skyrocket. My $5,000 deck of cards went to $120,000. You've seen land prices go from $15 to $750. You saw DEC go from 1,000 equals 65 cents to 100 equals $2 or something like that. And these radical transformations happened at moments when there was a lack of supply, at the same moment when there's a bull market surge. And I think if we are spending 3 out of every 12 months, 1/4 of every year with no packs on the marketplace, you're going to find that there's exciting opportunities for you as a card holder, for you as an asset holder in this space. And you're going to truly begin to understand what I've been preaching about for a long time here, which is the idea that these are not inflationary because they're not similar, they're not fungible. And every single token is different, whether it's a summoner from the same splinter, and they're even the same rarity. They're so different. It boils down to which edition they would be from, because that impacts the tournaments, guild brawls, and league you can fight within. But it's also about the abilities and synergies that are present within that edition. Because again, if you fight in modern, C-Chan's useless to you. If you fight in modern, Equatus is something you can use. Then if you have a Equatus and you have a backfire summoner, you want things like swiftness. So depending on where you play, different synergies are important, and therefore the argument of, is one blue summoner the same as another should just absolutely fall on its face. And therefore you can't argue they're fungible, and therefore you shouldn't argue they're inflationary. Yes, we see new cards. No, we don't see identicals. And therefore, I think we want to create a space where there's no cards so you can see the price appreciation, because there is a lack of supply, there is a lack of fungibility, and I think that'll become more evident when we see lack of card supply combined with a bull market, which I think is absolutely possible. And especially if we're creating a one quarter every year where we have no cards on the market. I know that there's challenges with this. I know that some people want to see all of this value be to reach the Dow. I know some of you think we just need to be patient. And if we are patient, we will sell every Rift Watcher pack. And I guess that's possible, you know, if we're really, really patient. But I just don't know why I can't really understand why we would be patient in that way. Because we've been patient for quite a while with Rift Watchers. We've already sold 1 million of them. That's a lot of packs. And yet the last two just aren't moving. So I think let them go away. Let them fill the Dow. Let them increase the scarcity of the packs for those who already bought. And I think let the game start to design a period of time for us where lack of supply can be felt. Because I think you'll have an exciting moment for players and investors when we create that. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Are you voting yes, no, maybe so? I'm a yes on this one, I think. I'm going to think about it a bit more before I finally make my decision, but right now I'm feeling a yes. Okay, guys, have an amazing day. God bless.